I want to try and pack like as much information as I can from a thought process kind of perspective, kind of like a staging of the market perspective, and obviously kind of like the seasonality stuff around Christmas and the holiday season as well, and kind of try and unpick the recent correction and where we are right now from BTC's perspective, and obviously then the applicable elements into alts as well. So first thing is first on the BTC side of things. So I want to present this in the correct way. So I'm going to start off by saying that I expect to see higher BTC prices in the future. I think that's an important kind of grounding point for what I'm going to go on to discuss here. So the first thing is that I expect to see BTC trading higher in the future. I'm still looking for kind of 125 plus in that area. But I think in the short term, what we've seen is a change in momentum that causes me a little bit of concern. Okay. One of the simplest things from a kind of a momentum system perspective is to be able to recognize any changes in character of the market. And a change of character is when the market has done something that it has not done for a long time and gives you some cause for concern about where we are and how we're going to be trading in the shorter term. And so when we look at BTC here, there's kind of a really important moment and change in terms of the momentum that we see on this market. And that momentum comes here on the RSI, and then here on the awesome oscillator as well. And so we'll discuss these 2 points and then kind of, clarify and hopefully be able to address some of the thoughts that I have here. So BTC, finally, if we want to use this kind of like meme line here, okay, we finally got a significant breakdown through this meme line here. What we also got coupled with that is the furthest negative push that the RSI has seen in 2 months. And we also got the worst AO crossover in terms of strength to the downside that we've also seen in 2 months. Okay, a little bit over 2.5 months for the AO side. When we get a situation that develops like that, for me personally, in my style of trading, that is a concern, and that's an area that I have to kind of take stock of and acknowledge that's happened in the market. Because the other time that I did that was on the 60K break. Okay, so when we started to break higher, and obviously in kind of like this chart perspective, right, I've been long from here, spot leverage trade from here, because this is when the market changed character and this is when the market started to move and attack the upside. Okay, it was a significant movement over here that returned us to kind of neutral levels. We'd done the negative crossover, we were back to the positive side, and we had a ton of confluence here from a lower time frame perspective as well. Again, crossing into the positive territory, starting to push higher, correction back down, retest zone, etc., fresh high on the market. Lots of things that represented here that the momentum was changing. And again, even if we just kind of add market structure into the mix here and we take here, 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 right, this is our fresh high. We then have this retest back down here. The market is now potentially in this uptrending structure. This becomes the higher low, and then we send from here. Right, so this is the first time during this 8-month consolidation where we really get this clean change in momentum, and we also get the clean change in character of BTC, which then sets it for its ascent up here. Now, obviously, many of you will remember that I was a very vocal bull during this time. Right, lots of caps lock engaged whenever I was tweeting, and prices moving nicely to the upside and kind of following on. And I've been relentlessly bullish, and I still remain bullish. Right, just like there's a little bit of caution in terms of my thought process and where we are right now. So now that we've had this change in character and it's the negative change in character, I have to begin to appreciate that and understand that that has taken place. Where that's kind of a pain and where that causes some, pinch points is that obviously today and last night I made the decision to close some of the more overweight or underperforming alts that are in my portfolio. And that decision was not great in terms of the market bounced pretty substantially in the afternoon of the session. The problem with that is that really I could have squeezed some more percent out the market in terms of the recovery of the market. And, if I would have closed later, I would have, got an extra 5-6% back, whatever. But it doesn't really change my concerns on the higher time frame. And that largely is the problem. Not really the problem with higher time frame analysis, but I'd say the problem with the perception of the higher time frame analysis. Now, obviously, if you couple that with the fact as well that it's Christmas time and I want to enjoy some time with my family and not be worrying about the price of fucking PopCat during that time, that's also pretty important. So when we get a moment like this that changes character on the higher time frame, me personally, I have to act. I have to make decisions. And what it means is that from BTC's perspective, and again, the seasonality kind of discussion here, is that I don't know what the price action is going to do from here as well. This could just be a really strong push to the downside and a negative crossover and these levels hitting levels they haven't hit in a couple of months, but we could still recover and start trading into fresh highs. Great. But at this moment in time, I still can't call it in terms of here's where I think we're going next, because we're still pretty early in this. But the first signs that I have of the next move would be continuation to the downside based on how we're currently trading. It would be based on the way this momentum has shifted and has now ended up on the more negative side, the more bearish side of things. So that's really where we are in terms of, my higher time frame view. Now, if you want to start talking about like price targets, well, I think everybody's looking at this 85K area, and I hate it when the market does that because typically we never get those nice, obvious levels that we're looking to achieve. And 85K moving down in towards kind of the 3-day lows over here would be a lovely area for us to trade into. It'd be a nice sweep of all this build-up that we've had through here. And there are a couple of other confluent factors that kind of guide the analysis through this region. We've had a 3-day divergence that's been similar, and after an extended period of upside through here, we then traded lower, 21%. We took out the lows from this area at 40K, and then we continue to rally into the highs over here at 70,000. Great situation if it develops here as well. Right, movement to the downside, get this 85K level, reverse, send it to 125. Perfect. Easy scenario. Everybody's long from the 85K sweep. Easy. Other side of me says that's not going to happen because why are we going to test every 85K? Because every fucker's got this level drawn on their chart, and of course the market's not going to go down there. So, maybe there's a chance that we hold up here instead and just trade higher. Don't know. Still can't make that decision at this point in time. Right? It's still too difficult for me to be able to, determine if that's the likely outcome. The other side of this is the MSTR chart. Now, MSTR has done essentially what we're looking at from BTC's perspective in terms of tagging into this 85K zone. This is 85K on BTC. It's the same meme structure. You've got the same meme diagonal. You've got the same build-up of longs all the way through this region here. You can see the lows here. You got one at 356, one at 337. Right? You've got the same build-up of lows. You've got the same lows here. MSTR runs this. It does minus 41% from the high. Takes out the very low of this consolidation. Puts in an incredibly good recovery candle here. Again, one day, but still a very good recovery candle, at least counter trend squeeze. BTC, similar setup, right? MSTR moves first. MSTR broke out on the weekly on October the 7th. That was when it broke this consolidation range. Right? It's exactly the same as BTC's here. Right? But BTC didn't break this all the way until here. And let's say this one's the breaker candle. It didn't break it till a week later. Right? MSTR clearly broke out of this 1 week prior to BTC breaking out of it. BTC's weekly close candle was here. It was nothing. It was a nothing candle. And so again, I have concerns that BTC will still try and make this move here. Again, if I really wanted to dive into kind of like all of the theories and thought processes behind this, I think BTC pulls that move when the stock market's not open. And the reason that I think that is because I think that actually, excuse me, that a lot of the stock charts actually look really good through this area. I think that Coinbase has retested a really great area. I think that the Coinbase move down here into the 3-day zone here is a great, great move for it. This is a former resistance zone all the way through the 260s, and we've come back down perfectly into that zone. It's also relevant through this area here. So I think that Coinbase is set up really, really nicely with a really kind of obvious bidding level here. I think that MSTR has done that run to the 85K equivalent on BTC. Like that's me really pushing the thought process out, right? And that really is just a thought. I'm not presenting that as this is the analysis that I believe is going to happen. I would think that BTC would try and pull it when the stock market's closed and then recover. But again, wait to be seen. For now, I think this thought process here, this area that we've got, for me is the concern right now. I don't know which way the next momentum patch is going to swing. I think that the market's had a really good rally today. I think that it's probably likely that, you know, we get these areas here now on BTC lower time frame perspective, and I think it's probably likely that we'll set up, you know, range bound scenario over the holiday period. Maybe something like this, lower time frame, end up sweeping the highs, fall back inside, chop around for a little bit, and don't do a huge amount over the holiday period. Might just get that volatility slow down. But the higher time frame still remains a slight concern for me. But again, I want to end the video by saying I have some concerns about the short term on BTC and whether or not this was it. I always find that's very difficult to judge just because we got a, you know, what would seem like a very good recovery. And because for the majority of people, they're on the lower time frame and the recovery looks like this. And they're like, holy fuck, the bottom's obviously in. Like, look at this V recovery up here. I don't necessarily believe it changes this view. You know, we had a very good recovery candle here on BTC as well when we got the sweep of 100K. And we got a really nice 4% rally on BTC to close that 12 hour just for the next 12 hours to just puke the downside again. This feels good, but we're now into this kind of 97, just shy of 100K resistance region. And we still got work to do. So for now, I'm focusing on the areas that I think provide the best setups, the easiest setups, the best in terms of simple invalidations, good risk reward, strongest signals. I think we're pretty close to doing some higher time frame bullish divergences on alts, which would be, you know, kind of a welcome step. But again, the alt situation would require another leg down on BTC probably. So if we're to get bullish divergences, we're going to need another leg lower on alts. And that's where we're going to get our divergence leg, is that next leg lower. And if BTC does move to that 85K zone, that's going to produce our higher time frame dips. Mentally, and theorizing this, there's a lot of thoughts that lead me towards BTC does continue. Right? From the theory perspective, when I start to extrapolate the thought process out across markets about what could potentially happen, I think there's a really good knock-on effect to believe that BTC continues to the downside. I also think that everybody has this fucking level mapped out, and therefore 0% chance we're going to go there. So for now, if this is the last thing you hear from me pre-Christmas, I just want to say have a wonderful Christmas, and thank you for all the support and for watching me and listening to me this year. I've been a little bit kind of quieter on the content side of things towards the end of the year, but as we head into 2025, that will all change again, and I'll start hitting the content a bit harder on YouTube, start getting the streams up on YouTube as well, so we'll be streaming live to YouTube, and really kicking back up a notch in terms of the content creation. But a very, very, very Merry Christmas to everybody this year. And thank you once again for all of the support. Have a wonderful time with all of your loved ones. Make sure you get some time away from the charts. Make sure you can relax for a little bit. Give yourself that mental refresh, especially after what we've seen. Fingers crossed we get chopped so you're not kind of like pulled back to the charts because you see a rally. And hopefully you can get some nice relaxation, clear the mind, come back refreshed in 2025 and enjoy the holidays.